This week on Wilderness Systems Kayak Bassin Show, Chad Hoover's heading to South Carolina to one of his favorite lakes in the southeast. The Santee Cooper Lakes, Marion, and Moultrie were created in 1939 as a part of a power and navigation project. The 42 miles of dams and dikes constructed resulted in 156,000 acres of recreational waters and some of the finest largemouth bass fishing in the country. On this day, Chad is hooking up with longtime friend Tim Boyin to fish a bass-filled section of the lake called the Hatchery.
You got a string hanging off your shorts. Oh man, never mind, that's your leg. Yep. Oh yeah, there he was, buddy. Oh, nice. Come here, girl. Booyah! I love this shallow water frogging early in the morning and all day long. Right in the corner of the mouth. Let's get this girl back in the water. All right, let me take a second to show you what I'm using right here and why exactly I switched to it. This is the Captain Ken Dahlberg. This is actually a custom. I started out with a buzzing toad, or a lot of people call it frog. For the most part, the distinction between the two is the toad is the soft plastic that you buzz with the little kicker feet, and the frog is a hollow body frog, a hard bodied frog, or in this case, it's a foam body with a kicking leg action. And the cool thing about this frog is that it's super realistic. I mean, when it sits in the water, those eyes are just above the water line, the legs are sitting there poised, and then when you kick it, it kicks. And just like a lot of times when I'm using a topwater popper, I like to use a pulse, pulse, glide, pause, pulse, 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 glide, and change the cadence up. Now with this frog, with the hook being out front, there's no need for a monster samurai hook set, because when they grab it by the head, and that hook point is right in the corner of their mouth, and that hook is super sticky. It looks awkward, but I promise you the hookup ratio on this thing is absolutely ridiculous. You can find these at bass-frog.com or Hook One Kayak Fishing Gear, but this one right here is a specially designed frog by Ken Dahlberg, and you have to order these, and there's a pretty good weight, but it's worth it, I promise you. Let's go see if we can get another bass.
Stay tuned for lots more kayak bass fishing action. Earlier this season, Chad Hoover hit a private lake managed by VIP Adventures in South Carolina. It didn't take long for the action to heat up.
There's one. Oh, fish on. Nice. Oh yeah. Good fish. Good fish. Stop jumping. Oh. Booyah. Another bucket mouth, baby. Oh yeah. Oh. When it popped it up, it looked like a small fish. Stay down. Stay down. Oh. Stay on. 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 This is why you should have a net if you're fishing treble hooks. Ooh. That's why you come to South Carolina in the springtime, baby. Oh yeah! Oh yeah! Look at that pig. Boom.
With the big hog still fresh in his mind, Chad has returned to South Carolina to continue his hunt for monster bass with longtime friend Tim Boyin in the public waters of Santee Cooper.
My name is Tim Boyin from Savannah, Georgia. Love to fish, and my first time in a kayak, let alone standing up in one. Generally, I'm a tournament archer, 3D archery, ASA predominantly, and but I've always loved to fish. Fished long before I ever shot the first arrow, and done pretty well with the archery. So we're gonna see what we can do with the fish.
I have absolutely no idea how I met Tim. Tim is one of those dudes that I just know that I know. And every time I go to Savannah, I call him. And every time I call him, he's ready to go. And whether it's fishing, hunting, catching frog legs, hog hunting, whatever it is, as long as it's chasing critters and trying to hook, stab, kill, or maim something, oh man, there it was. Tim is all about it. So if you're a pro 3D tournament archer, watch out, because Tim Boyin's coming for you. If you're a pro bass fisherman, I think you're okay.
Me and Chad met in Savannah, Georgia quite a few years ago. I kind of took him under my wing. He wasn't much of a fisherman back then, but showed him a few things back around the Savannah area, and he's kind of been doing a little better since then. I guess all that practicing paid off for him. There he is. Oh yeah. Nice. Nice. Oh, nice fish, boys. Oh, come back here. Oh yeah, getting them reeds. Oh yeah. Come on, he's feisty. Come on. Yeah. That's more like it, gentlemen. And fellas, it's been a little windy this morning, but throwing this topwater frog was the ticket to get a few off these lily pads. Gonna keep at it. Nice fish though. Big male looks like, but we'll see.
You know what, I fish a lot of hard to reach places and a lot of isolated small bodies of water, but I also fish a lot of really big bodies of water with very limited access. And one of the keys to covering a lot of water and finding and getting to fish that nobody else can get to is my Torqeedo 403 ultralight kayak motor. The beautiful thing about it is that it can extend my range, and I can shorten my learning curve for learning large bodies of water to find that spot within the spot that's going to produce fish almost every time. Look, I don't take it on every outing, but I take it on the outings when I'm trying to learn the water, find the fish, and increase my odds for success every time that I go out. The Torqeedo 403 ultralight kayak motor is something every kayak angler who's serious about catching fish should take a look at. I'll tell you what, that's how you get welcome to South Carolina. That bass smashed the frog, a little 4.5 pounder. The water's cold. I'm pretty sure the fish are post-spawn here. It's the end of April, but let me show you something on this fish real quick. Check that out. That's a sore from when those bucks are down in there scooting around, shoveling the debris out of the bed to make the bed. So that means this is a male in most regards. Most likely this is a male. It's got the spots all over his tail. They're starting to heal, so we're definitely post-spawn. Fish was really aggressive, smashed the frog. You know, about a 3 1/4 to maybe 3.5 pounder, nice little fish, really aggressive, and hopefully a sign for things to come. Santee Cooper, South Carolina, big bass in shallow water.
Stay tuned. When we come back, the guys hook into one of the big hogs that Santee Cooper is known for. Chad Hoover's deep in the lily pads of South Carolina, doing what he loves to do most, bass fishing with frogs. Frog fishing is one of the most exciting types of bass fishing there is, and not surprisingly, there are a lot of frogs to choose from. So Chad is going to take a minute to explain what frogs he brings with him in this week's kayak fishing tip, brought to you by Wilderness Systems. Check out their full line of premium fishing kayaks at wildernesssystemsfishing.com.
All right, guys, in most episodes, we wait till the end of the day and we do a tackle overview talking about all the things that produced on that particular day. We're going to switch it up a little bit on this episode and talk about frog fishing. Frog fishing is absolutely my favorite way to catch monster bass. So instead of waiting until the end, I'm just going to talk to you about some of the things that actually work. And here's the deal. Frog fishing is a hit or miss proposition. There's days that you're going to smash them, and then there's days you're just going to pound the water into submission, and that's just all there is to it. But the fact of the matter is, when you catch that fish, that monster bass in shallow water with a vicious topwater strike, there's nothing like it. So a couple of the types of lures that I like to use is I like to use the realistic kicking frog from Ken Dalbert, which is basically a foam body with the legs that kick when you pull it through the water. I like to use hollow body frogs in a number of different sizes and a number of different profiles. These really soft bodied frogs from Evolve and the little Pond Doctor tiny micro frogs are deadly for throwing into tight places and catching numbers of bass. And you know what? I subscribe to the big fish, big bait theory as much as anybody else, but every now and then an elephant eats a peanut and you'll get a monster bass on one of these little micro frogs. So make sure you add these to your arsenal. Now, one other product that you don't want to overlook is a hard-bodied frog. This one happens to be from Evolve called the Pulse Frog. And what it is, it's a very realistic hard-bodied frog that walks through the water. It's got a skirted tail and a double hook in the back with a weed guard in front of it. Now that exposed hook might look like it's gonna hang up, but I can tell you right now, you can throw that thing into the thickest stuff out there and the bass just flat out smash it. In fact, when you've got really dense vegetation, that hard body frog sometimes comes through stuff that no other frog will come through. And last but not least, every time you head out frog fishing, you should have a few soft plastic toad style baits in your box that have the flutter feet, fished either on a screw lock style hook, or one of my favorites, especially when fishing heavy cover, is the Mustad big mouth tube hook. And the reason that I like this hook is that shank does not have the Z in it that really holds the plastic in place. And intuitively, a lot of folks want to have that plastic held in place. What I want to have is I want to have that plastic have the ability to collapse and pull out of the way in heavy cover when that bass grabs a hold to it. And with that heavy gauge hook, I can really drive the hook point home and get that fish's head up out of that thick cover and keep her from going down there, tangling me up and getting free.
Just had another one swirl it, Chad. There he is. God almighty.
It's about the fifth fish Tim's missed in about 10 minutes. He's suffering from a really bad case of premature ejaculation. Hey Tim, slow it down a little bit.
That wasn't sweet. Nice fish. Oh, goodness gracious, that's a good one. Oh, he's not ready yet. There you go, boys. Now that's what we've been after all day long. A fat one. See the tail? Fanning that bed, fanning that bed. Half the tail's gone. Unreal. Beautiful fish. It's the middle of the day. We've been getting short strikes all day long. Everything we've been getting has been on top water, but it's just been slow. When we get the bites, they short strike it. So I was out here in these lily pads, kind of open water, but I seen him short strike it. I stopped reeling and he murdered it. And we've been trying to slow that thing down a little bit when they hit it, and it definitely worked for her. And that's a good fish, especially in the middle of the day. Yeah, that's a pretty fish. Pretty Carolina fish, and that's what we came for right there, boys. They don't get much prettier than that. All right. Real fat Sally. About an 8, 9 pound fish.
Welcome back to Wilderness Systems Kayak Bassin Show. This week, Chad Hoover's on Moultrie Lake in South Carolina with longtime friend Tim Boyin.
"5 years I've been fishing here. That is the first pickerel I've ever caught. No, 10 years I've been fishing here."
There he is. Oh yeah, that's another nice one. He's got me in these lily pads. Come on there, baby. Oh well. There's another one. Nice fish. And you ain't gonna believe this. Look at there. Seen a lot of fish caught before, but I ain't never seen one crap out a hook that size. He about got it out of there. Mercy. Don't know whether to pull it out or leave it in. Look at there. Unbelievable. Not even bleeding. He's a little thin. I think he'll grow up a little bit now that he's got that thing out of his butt. Now that's a pain in the behind for real. Not a bad fish.
Oh. Oh yeah. Nice fish. Booyah! Nice. Right in the corner of the mouth. You know, I've been fishing this bait pretty slow, thinking because the water was cool that they wanted it that way. On that cast, I actually burned it back, sped it up. That fish came from 20, 30 feet away and ran it down and flat smashed it. Nice fish. You know, I'll tell you what, thanks for joining me on today's episode. We didn't exactly smash the bass today, but I can tell you, there's special places, and then there's special places within special places. And for me, this little pond that I'm in right now is one of those special places within a special place. Santee Cooper has always been a great place for me to come and get away from, you know, all the worries. And this little pond right here, about 100 yards over here to my right, I caught a 12-pound, 4-ounce largemouth on a topwater frog with my dad sitting about 15 or 20 feet from me. So every time I come to this place, I get goosebumps. I get like a extra surge of adrenaline. And when I poke the nose of the kayak out into this opening for the first time, every time I come here, it just transcends everything that I'm doing, everything that's going on in the world. And I can't wait to start ripping that frog across the top or hopping that hollow body frog across the top and waiting for that big explosion. Tim got a nice bass today. I got quite a few small bass and a couple of decent ones. Didn't get the hog I was looking for, but I'm gonna tell you what, man, this is the ultimate outdoor experience. Fishing from a kayak is just it's just fishing in HD. I got to thank Tim for joining me today and for putting the big fish on the board and making us look good. So until next week, thanks for joining us on Kayak Bassin. There has got to be a big fish out here. It's got to be. You know what? Whether you're new to kayak fishing or you're looking to give kayak fishing a try, visit Hook One at kayakfishinggear.com for the latest in kayak fishing accessories, kayaks, and you know what? If you don't see something that you like, give us a call and we'll make sure we add it. Wow, nice fish.
Blech.